Hello everybody and welcome back to another new video. It's me, Will, and as you can see, I'm on the road again. I'm on a little road trip just for the weekend. Right now I'm in a little town called Elizabethton in the northeast area of the state of Tennessee, very close to the Virginia as well as the North Carolina border. I just finished visiting a really nice state park here called Sycamore Shoals State Historic Park. Really the perfect place for a really nice picnic, nice hike, and they also have a really cool museum that you can check out. Apparently there's lots of history about this part of the country that you can learn here in the museum. But anyways, this video is not about the park itself. Of course, it's about records. I'm on my way to Knoxville, and when I get there, I plan to visit at least a couple of record stores while I'm in town. For sure, I want to visit a record store called Wild Honey. Apparently it's only open one day a week, so today on Saturday, and it only opens for a few hours, so hopefully I'll get there on time. But anyways, I'll see you when I get to Knoxville, hopefully with a good haul of records. See you then. Alright, and I made it here to Knoxville, and I am right outside Wild Honey Records. It seems like I just made it just in time. It is 4 p.m. and they close at 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and check it out and see what I can find. Alright, so Wild Honey Records was a success, even though I only picked up one record at the store. The store was a lot smaller than I remembered it, because I definitely have been to that store before. I remembered as soon as I walked into the shop, but I've forgotten how small it was. But anyways, they had a great selection, and I'm gonna show you the record that I picked up at that store at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Right now I am at another store. I'm at McKays. Used books, CDs, and DVDs, and more, because I have heard that this store also has some records. So I'm gonna go in there and look for some music related stuff, records and CDs, and I'll be back with my haul. Alright, so I just got out of McKays, and holy crap, that place was absolutely insane. Anybody that's out there that's watching my videos that is from Knoxville, you guys should have warned me about this place, because this place was crazy. It was so big. It's like a massive warehouse, mostly a used bookstore, but they did have a considerable selection of used CDs as well as DVDs. And I did manage to find a really good haul over there. I got some records as well as CDs for a really good price. Again, it was just a little bit messy. You know, it was really crowded, but of course it's Saturday in the afternoon, almost evening, so it was to be expected. But again, very surprising store. I spent a lot of time there, so whenever I'm back in Knoxville, I'm gonna try to stop here at McKays again. But anyways, it's already 6 p.m. and I was planning on going to another record store. Another record store that I really like is called the Raven Records. It's a little bit further down downtown Knoxville, but I'm not sure if it's going to be open. So I'm going to check that, and if it's not, I will see you at the Airbnb, and I'm going to be showing you all the records and the CDs that I picked up in this haul. See you later. Alright guys, I'm back here at the Airbnb after a really fun and full day of traveling and record shopping here in Knoxville. As you can see, I didn't end up going to the other record stores that I wanted to go. It was getting a little bit late, and most of the stores would have been closed by the time I got there. So I didn't end up going to Raven Records or the other record stores that I wanted to visit, like Magnolia Records as well as Basement Records, but I've heard good things about those stores. Maybe for next time. But anyways, I did end up getting a good haul at McKays, and one record also at Wild Honey, so I'm gonna show those to you now. But before getting started, big shout out to the good people at Wild Honey Records. fantastic record store. It's a small store, like I said before in the video, actually very small, smaller than I remembered. But they have a really good selection, and the records are in really good shape. They're fairly priced, I think, and the overall store is just fantastic. It's very clean, very well organized, and the employees are really good. They're very helpful. So I highly recommend Wild Honey Records. And this is the record that I picked up there, Cheap Trick. And this one's called Lap of Luxury. It came out in 1988 on Epic Records. And it was still on the original shrink wrap. And they're showing the singles in the hype sticker. And there's the back. And I'm still in the process of growing my Cheap Trick record collection, and I definitely needed this one. Honestly, I didn't know much about this record before I bought it, except the big hit in this album, The Flame. That was a big hit for the band. Not my favorite Cheap Trick song. It's a little bit of a slower power ballad, but it's still a pretty fun song. And I was actually streaming it just before I started recording this video. And this record is actually really, really good. Great Cheap Trick record, again, Lap of Luxury from 1988. And that was the only record that I picked up at Wild Honey Records. But I ended up getting a t-shirt from the record store. And I remember last time I came here a few years ago to Wild Honey Records, I always wanted to get the t-shirt, but for some reason I didn't get it. So finally now I had to pick it up. I love the little mascot for the record store. I think they have one of the best ones. So yeah, great record store again. Highly recommended if you're in the Knoxville area. And the next store, of course, was McKays. And Wild Honey Records was just so well organized, so clean, and so small. McKays was the complete opposite. And I know it's not just a record store. You know, they sell books, used DVDs, vinyl, CDs, electronics, whatever. But it was just so massive, and I wasn't expecting a place that big. It was like the size of a warehouse. And yeah, I'm going to try to put some clips of the videos that I took at the store, because I've never seen anything like that. Most of the store was for used books, so there were a lot of people there buying books. But it was also very crowded with people just shopping for records, because the record section was all the upstairs balcony area. And it was actually very crowded with people there shopping for records and CDs. But I guess it makes sense because it is on a Saturday. But anyways, really, yeah, it was big, huge, and dirty. But I still loved it because I found 3 vinyl records and I think like 7 CDs, all for a really good price. The ones that I bought were for a good price. But I gotta say that some of the prices that they had for some of the vinyl records in McKays were definitely overpriced. A lot of the records I saw, they were in really bad condition, very dirty, but they were still charging like $40, $50 for a record. I thought that that wasn't really a fair price for a lot of the stuff that they were selling, but I still found some good treasures there. So let's get started with this one. This was a brand new and sealed copy of Overwhelming Color Fast, the self-titled album, and it came out in 1992. But this is a 2022 reissue that came out on Record Store Day, Black Friday, back in 2022 on ORG Music Records. I completely missed out on when this one came out. And again, it was brand new and sealed. I just opened this one, and I'm going to show you the record because it came in with the really nice color vinyl. Here's the inner sleeve. There's some cool pictures of the band. And let's see the vinyl. Splatter, clear, yellow, and red vinyl. Of course, coming from Overwhelming Color Fast. With a band with that name, it has to have some color in the vinyl. But anyways, great alternative rock record from the 90s. This is the kind of band that really, you can hear how influential they were on pop punk bands that came out during the 90s. They definitely have that very Husker Du type of sound. In fact, the vocal tone of the singer in this band sounds almost exactly like Bob Mould, at least in my opinion. I was just streaming this one also in the car when I was driving back in here to the Airbnb. This record is awesome, and definitely a great addition to my collection. And it still has also the hype sticker, and it's the 30th anniversary pressing, first ever US vinyl release, yellow and red splatter vinyl, limited to only 1,000 copies. I was surprised that this one was still around. And McKays, brand new and sealed as well. A hell of a find. Also only 13 bucks at McKays. Great find. Again, it's overwhelming color fast with their self-titled record. A couple of more records that I picked up were two Carly Simon records from the bargain bin. This one's called Hotcakes from Carly Simon, and this one came out in 1974 on Elektra Records. Cool pictures there of Carly, and even a cooler picture here in the gatefold. So I found this one, Cupcakes, or Hotcakes, and this one's called Come Upstairs, and this one came out in 1980 on Warner Brothers Records. The sleeves on this ones were a little bit beat up, but the records were in really good condition. And this one was $2, and this one right here was $3. So I thought it were a really good deal. So I got introduced to Carly Simon's music when I got one of her records at the thrift store years ago. And for some reason I never got any of her other stuff until I found this too. And yeah, I was streaming this one. I actually liked this one a lot. Again, from the 70s, Carly Simon is really good. I love her voice. And I was a little bit worried about this one because I saw that it came out in the 80s, and it does have a little bit of an 80s type of feel in the artwork here in the back too. And I always got concerned when you see artists from the 70s releasing music from the 80s. So I'm always concerned that their music's gonna sound very dated or very 80s, but it's not the case. It does have a little bit of synth in some of her songs, some keyboards, but I think it sounds great, especially the title track, Come Upstairs. It's a great track from Carly, and her voice is fantastic in this one too. And I forgot to say, in this record, she has one song with James Taylor, a fantastic song called Mockingbird. And the closing track, Haven't Got Time for the Pain, beautiful track. Great two records from Carly Simon. All right, then the rest of the stuff that I got at McKays were all on CD. And like I said before, some of the prices on the vinyl was a little bit high, considering the condition of the records. But I think the CDs were actually very fairly priced. Actually, they were even lower than thrift stores. For most of the stuff that I saw there, the prices were really good for the CDs. Just one thing is that you do have to look and see that the CDs are really inside the case. Some of them were missing, or just some of them were super scratched. But anyways, these are the CDs that I got there on the case. Let's start off with Black Francis. And this one's called Blue Finger from 2007, and it came out on Cooking Vinyl. I don't know how I completely missed out on this album from Black Francis. I'm a huge fan of the Pixies, a big fan of Black Francis's solo stuff as well. But for some reason, I was never aware of this record, even when it came out. And this record is amazing. I was playing it in my car as I was driving in here. And yes, my car still has a CD player. But this album is fantastic. It's a definitely a very Ramones influenced type of record. You can tell that Black Francis was trying to make a punk album in this record. I really like the song called which one was it? Lolita in this record. Fantastic album. It may be one of my favorites from Black Francis. And I know that he is in the process of reissuing a lot of his older records on vinyl. If this one ever gets repressed, I'm definitely picking up a copy of this one on vinyl when it comes out. And I got this one for a really good price, 95 cents on this one on CD. Great record, again, Blue Finger from Black Francis. Next one, another one from Black Francis. This one's called Seven Fingers. I don't know if this is a full-length album or an EP, but it only has 7 tracks. And it came in with a nice kind of like an inner jacket for the CD. I was not familiar with this one at all either. I think I've heard maybe a couple of tracks from this one. It's good, but I don't think it's nearly as good as the one that I showed you before, Blue Finger. I don't know if there's any relation to Blue Finger and Seven Fingers. This one came out just a year after that one, 2008, also on Cooking Vinyl. But this one's definitely a little bit different compared to Blue Finger. It's a little bit more, has more electric guitars for sure. But anyways, a really solid album again from Black Francis. Glad to add it to my CD collection. Up next, how about Ryan Adams and the Cardinals? And this one's called Cold Roses, and it came out in 2005 on Lost Highway Records. A nice gatefold jacket on the CD. And there's the gatefold artwork. I don't know if you can see it there. I tried to show you there with the glare. But the cover and the back cover, they're all embossed in this textured design. Really cool looking. Ryan Adams, for sure, he's a jerk in his personal life, but his music is just amazing. This one was, I think, one of his best records, in my opinion. Kind of like a folk rock, Americana influenced type of music. Love this record. It's a double LP or a double CD. I don't know how many vinyl records is in the vinyl version, but definitely one of my favorites from Ryan Adams. Again, this one came out in 2005 from Lost Highway. Next one, another singer-songwriter about Christine Hirsch. And this one's called Grotto. And this one came out in 2003 on 4AD Records. Sorry for the glare there. So now I was not aware of this album from Christine Hirsch at all until I saw it at the store. I picked it up because it was only $4 and I love Christine Hirsch, Christine Hirsch's voice. I think she's one of the best singers from the 90s, and her work in Throwing Muses is just amazing. And by the way, this has a very 4AD Throwing Muses inspired type of design in the CD, where they like to put in the titles of all the songs, or the track list here in the spine of the record, and all the credits are listed here also in the inner spine of the CD case. Quite unique for 4AD. But anyways, I was just streaming this one before in preparation to make this video, and I gotta say I didn't get too much into this one from Christine Hirsch. This one's called The Grotto. Her voice is amazing as usual, but the songs don't seem as strong as some of her other records. This may be the kind of record that really needs multiple listens to really get into it. I may have to revisit my review of this one in a later video. But again, this one's called The Grotto. Glad to add it to my Christine Hirsch collection. Next one, really excited about this one, Rocket from the Crypt. And this one's called R.I.P. And this is the final show from Rocket from the Crypt, live album. This one came out in 2008 on Vagrant Records, and it's a double disc. The first disc is a CD, and the second disc is a DVD of the full show. Absolutely love Rocket from the Crypt. I was familiar with this album, but I actually never listened to this one before. I know this one's gonna be a banger because Rocket from the Crypt is one of the best rock bands ever. It came in with a nice booklet with kind of like the band describing each of the songs from the show, which is really cool. But yeah, this album is going to be a banger to listen to. Again, Rocket from the Crypt live, or R.I.P. from 2000. Well, the album came out in 2008. The show was recorded in 2005 in San Diego. All right, up next, and also very excited about this one. This one's Westerberg. The Best of Paul Westerberg, the greatest hits compilation for Paul. And this one came out in 2005 on Rhino Records. And I got this one for $2, and I think I know why. Whoever had this CD before me, I guess they had a kid that decided to write the word dad right there in the center of the album cover. But I don't really mind, it was just $2, and actually the records and the CDs from Paul, I find them really hard to find in the wild. At least whenever I go out to record shopping, I usually look for replacements and Paul stuff, Paul solo stuff, and I will rarely find any of his albums. So yeah, I'm glad to find this one. It has all the best Paul songs. It even includes one song from his side project or alter ego, Grandpa Boy, called High Time. Great track. And a few unreleased tracks, 3 unreleased tracks. Once Around the Weekend, the alternate mix, as well as All That I Had and Come On, Come On. Glad to finally add this one to my Paul collection. Really needed this one because I'm a huge fan of Paul, as well as the replacements, of course. Next, how about some punk rock from the 90s? I had to pick up this one from AFI. This one's called Answer That and Stay Fashionable, from back in 1995 on Nitro Records. This is from when AFI actually played punk rock songs. I've been a fan of this band since the 90s. This is one of the first bands that I listened to that were punk rock back in the 90s. And actually I have a couple of their CDs from that era, but I was missing this one. And again, these CDs are actually pretty hard to find in the wild. And I don't know if this one has been repressed on vinyl, but it definitely should be because it's really, really good. It has the classic song from AFI called I Want to Get a Mohawk, but My Mom Won't Let Me. Love that track from AFI. And finally, this is the last CD that I got here at McKays. It was 95 cents, so a really good deal. The Ataris with End Is Forever. Yeah, End Is Forever. It came out in 2000 on Kung Fu Records. I just saw this band live last weekend. They opened for MXPX. I guess they reunited for this tour. They're going to be playing at the When We Were Young festival later this summer. And yeah, I've been a fan of the Ataris for also a very long time. It's one of the first bands that I ever saw live back when they were touring for their album that was they had a big hit called So Long Astoria. Fantastic album. I've had this one on MP3s for a very long time as well. It is a good record, but it's definitely not the best record from the Ataris. But it does have what I believe to be one of the best pop punk songs ever. A song called Teenage Riot, right at the end, close to the end of the record. Fantastic song from the Ataris. I still recommend, even if it's not the Ataris' best. Definitely start with, if you're trying to get into the music from them, start off with either So Long Astoria or what's it called, the Next 12 Exits record. Anyways, fun record from the Ataris, and that completes my haul from McKays, as well as my pickup from Wild Honey Records. Had a blast being here in Knoxville. I love this town. It's really fun to explore around. A great city. Highly recommend if you're in the area. Again, let me know what you think about my pickups. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.